I'm Daniel.
I'm Jay-Z.
And this is Just Might DIY.
These arched bar menu signs are all the rage for weddings today.
And since we're having a wedding and we're having a bar at the wedding, we needed a wedding bar menu sign.
There are many ways that you can make these, but we wanted a few more detailed elements on ours, which is why we decided to go with our favorite crafting discipline, which is sublimation.
Now, this isn't the first time we sublimated on acrylic. We have done little keychains before, but this is a much different bulb game, dealing with large acrylic pieces and, of course, sublimating on them.
So after a lot of trial and error, we landed on what we felt was the best process to get this result, and that is what we're going to share with you today.
So grab your favorite beverage, follow along.
So to get started, we are going to be working on 1/4 inch thick acrylic. We do have a Glowforge, so we're going to cut this out ourselves. You can buy these templates for cutting them on Etsy, or you can also just buy blank signs on Etsy as well. It's just important that you are working on cast acrylic and not extruded acrylic. So once our Glowforge gets this all cut out, we're going to take it out and have our pieces to work with. Now you'll notice that we're waiting till later to do the base, and we will show you why in a little bit.
So here we go about how to sublimate on this acrylic. Now we are using Hiipoo Sublimation ink, which is a very convenient nozzle fit for eco tanks. And Hiipoo Sublimation paper, the 8.5 by 14.
We love their sublimation paper and reach for this most often. It is fast drying, it's high quality, you know where the front and the back is, and it's all good. So we have this design here that we actually designed ourselves in Canva. Of course, you always want to mirror your sublimation designs before you print. We're going to turn it 90 degrees, and we're printing it on 8.5 by 14 inch paper. Now, normally we would tell you to do a matte paper setting. However, for acrylic, we're going to tell you to do a glossy paper setting, and best quality, we're using photo glossy paper. You want a little less ink to come down to help with the sublimation process on the acrylic, and you will see why in a little bit.
Now don't forget, when your sublimation does print out, it will print out a little dull, but that's okay. The heat activates its true colors.
Some people do freak out when they see the sublimation prints, like the colors aren't right, but it's all good. Look at how beautiful this printout is. No track marks. I mean, that's really that Hiipoo paper working for you.
So here we are. We have the acrylic demasked, and now we're using some alcohol and a microfiber to clean both the residue from the masking off of it as well as the human off of it. This will also enhance your sublimation process.
Now, we don't need to trim this exactly too. That's actually not recommended, but we are going to trim the paper down just a little bit so we can get it a more manageable size.
Now I'm using some handy dandy skills to go ahead and align this to 1 inch of its life. We want to make sure it's square, centered, and
straight.
Straight, yes. So this is our marked ruler that helps us figure out exactly how far everything is and helps us get nice square 90-degree lines. And we are taping not to the front of the sublimation side, because acrylic will take every imprint you give it.
That's why you really want your paper oversized to your piece, and you want to tape only on the back, not on the front. So again, working with the oversized sheet of paper, we're ready to sublimate. Our heat press is heated up to 380 degrees. We're set at 60 seconds. We are using a swing away because this is thick. And we also have that top platen heating up the bottom platen. Now, once we take it out, we're going to put it on this silicone mat for cooling, but this is very important to prevent warping.
We are using the smoothest thing that we have. That will also be weighed down with this weight distributing plank of wood. and Bobo the kettlebell. Say hi. Hi.
So acrylic tends to warp when it's hot and it's cooling down, and so you will definitely want to have a few other things such as that heat resistant glove and the water to put it in. We'll show you how all that comes together, but to sublimate,
we're going to first put down a couple pieces of regular copy paper. Of course, we want our sublimation image face up, and a couple more sheets of copy paper. We're treating that as blowout paper, and we're going to press it and wait 60 seconds.
Now you'll see when Daniel pulls this out, heat resistant glove, put it on that mat very quickly, getting to the smooth surface on top and Bobo. This is because it will want to warp. Even heating that bottom platen, it's still going to want to warp some, so you got to let it cool while it's weighed down.
So we're going to peel everything off of it, and you can see most of the paper comes off, but there's still this weird papery residue, and it did press mostly flat, but you'll see in a second here, there's actually a tiny warp to it, but you'll see that after we're done cleaning it. So we throw it in the bucket so that we can moisten the paper. The soft side of the sponge is what you want to use to clean this. Finesse is your friend, not power.
Acrylic will scratch easily, but you can see just some water and a little bit of sponge, and all that paper residue came off. This is where there's just the teeniest, tiniest warp. We'll show you how to take a warp out of it. 10 seconds, same thing, 380 degrees. Again, just some paper underneath, design side down, because that's just the way our warp is going right now. A piece of paper on top, and pressing for 10.
So we're going to drag it right back over to that silicone mat for cooling, put all of the apparatus and boo-boo on top of it, and let it cool fully. This is take your time and let it cool.
Yes, and that gave us a fairly straight piece, which is wonderful to have because obviously it's got to fit in the slits at the base. And here's all 4 of our pieces that we all sublimated that same way, and now we are ready for our finishing touches.
I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you.
So sometimes when you sublimate on acrylic, you'll see a little bit of just that not glossiness on it. Just it kind of looks a little dull in places. This looks totally fine. You could use it as is. We want a little glossier of a surface, so we're going to actually pour on some UV resin to dome it. We don't want it to drip over the sides. You can see we do have our sides protected. And so just a little bit of UV resin, not super thick, will help you kind of get that glossiness back onto your acrylic.
So once we have it put on there, we use a system of heats and fires to help smooth it out and make sure any bubbles rise to the surface and get out of there before we pull out our nail finisher. What?
This is our UV light, and we did 60 seconds each side for 2 times each side, so a total of 4 minutes. And now for the edges, we do want to do something nice on the edges, so we just grab some double-sided tape and some gold leaf.
Because we're rich like that.
It's actual gold.
Yes, it is.
But you see, it's a little messy, but a nice cleanup with a cloth, and everything just came off nicely. Now, since we have the ability to cut our own base, we waited until the end, use our calipers to measure the exact thicknesses, and went and cut. Note, if you don't have a laser, you don't have to use acrylic, you can do this in wood. But if you are in the market for a laser, want a Glowforge, we have a referral link in the description that'll give you up to $500 off, as well as give us a little something in return.
And now, of course, you see us setting everything up in the base that we just created. And
we love it.
Yay.
We love the way that this turned out and hope that you found value in this tutorial. If you did, consider supporting us over on Patreon at patreon.com/justmightDIY. A few dollars a month will help us keep creating great content like this.
Another great and easy way to support us is to like, subscribe, and ring the bell, and leave us a comment in the comment line, maybe about your favorite beverage. But also know that everything that we use to do this is listed down in the description,
including our favorite Hiipoo sublimation products. Thanks again to Hiipoo for providing these to us. We have honestly been using their sublimation ink and paper for years and love it every time. Of course, don't forget to connect with us across social platforms. We love to hear from you. See you next time.